Happiness is not something that can be found in external sources, but something we nurture and cultivate within ourselves. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that true peace arises from self-awareness and understanding, not from seeking validation or approval from others. In today's world, where solitude is often mistakenly associated with loneliness, Buddhism offers a different perspective, a profound way to embrace and find contentment in our own company. Being alone in this context is not merely about physical solitude, but about fostering a deeper, more meaningful connection with oneself. It's about learning to enjoy the present moment, appreciate inner peace, and recognize that true happiness is a state of mind that comes from within, not from external circumstances. 1. Rewire your mind to see solitude as power, not punishment. Many people fear being alone. They associate solitude with negative emotions such as loneliness, rejection, or emptiness. The thought of being by oneself can seem like a daunting experience, one that highlights what's lacking in life. Yet in reality, solitude is not about what is missing. It is about what you can gain. When we change our perspective on being alone, we open ourselves to profound personal growth and inner peace. Buddhism offers a refreshing view of solitude, showing us that it is not a void, but a space full of potential. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of understanding ourselves and finding contentment within. To truly connect with our deeper nature, we must first embrace the quiet and stillness of being alone. Solitude, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a sanctuary for the soul. When surrounded by constant noise, distractions, and the expectations of others, it is difficult to connect with our true selves. The external world can often drown out the voice of our inner wisdom. However, when we are alone, we are granted the rare opportunity to listen to our own thoughts without external influences. This precious time allows us to reflect on our lives, understand our emotions, and gain clarity about what truly matters to us. The first and most profound benefit of being alone is the opportunity for self-awareness. In solitude, we find space to listen to ourselves. We begin to understand our desires, fears, and the things that bring us peace. This self-awareness is an invaluable gift, as it allows us to make choices based on our own truth rather than being swayed by the opinions and expectations of others. In a world that often pressures us to conform, the ability to connect with our own inner voice is a revolutionary act of liberation. Solitude also provides us with the chance to develop emotional intelligence. When we are alone, we can observe our emotions without the interference of external judgments. We begin to understand why we feel certain ways, how our emotions fluctuate, and what triggers them. This knowledge is a powerful tool for personal growth, as it empowers us to respond to situations with greater mindfulness and clarity. Instead of reacting impulsively or being overwhelmed by our emotions, we learn to respond from a place of understanding and calm. Additionally, solitude is where inner peace is nurtured. Far too often, people seek distractions to avoid confronting their thoughts and emotions. Whether it's social media, television, or constant chatter with friends, the modern world offers endless ways to fill the silence. But Buddhism teaches us that true peace is found in stillness. When we are alone, we can practice mindfulness, meditate, or simply be present with ourselves. These moments of quiet reflection allow us to reconnect with our breath, release the weight of unnecessary thoughts, and find solace in the present moment. It is in these moments of stillness that we begin to build emotional strength, resilience, and self-acceptance. The more comfortable we become with being alone, the more capable we are of facing life's challenges. In solitude, we cultivate an inner strength that can withstand external pressures. We learn that happiness does not depend on the presence or approval of others. We become grounded in our own sense of self, and this inner foundation becomes unshakable. As we develop our ability to find peace within, we also learn to accept ourselves fully. Solitude allows us to come to terms with our imperfections, recognizing that we are enough just as we are. It is in these quiet moments that we can begin to release the fear of judgment or rejection. Instead of seeking validation from others, we learn to appreciate our own worth. We come to understand that we are complete in our own right, and we no longer rely on external sources to define our happiness. The more we practice being alone, the more independent and self-sufficient we become. A person who is at peace in solitude is unshakable because they do not rely on others for their sense of well-being. They have cultivated an inner world that is rich with meaning, wisdom, and love. This inner world becomes their anchor in the storms of life. Whether they are surrounded by others or alone, they remain rooted in their own truth. In Buddhism, the practice of solitude is not about withdrawing from the world, but rather about returning to the self. It is about taking the time to reconnect with the deepest parts of our being, to rediscover our purpose, and to build a relationship with ourselves that is loving and nurturing. Solitude is not a punishment, but a gift, a chance to deepen our understanding of who we are and what we need to live a fulfilling life. When we embrace being alone, we shift our mindset from one of fear and isolation to one of empowerment and self-discovery. We learn that true strength lies in our ability to be at peace with ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. Solitude becomes a training ground for inner strength, wisdom, and personal growth. It is in these moments of stillness that we can hear the quiet voice of our soul, guiding us toward a life of fulfillment and contentment. Instead of fearing solitude, we can choose to see it as a blessing. It is a sacred space where we can heal, reflect, and grow. The time we spend alone allows us to reconnect with our essence and create a life that is aligned with our deepest values. When we learn to be happy alone, we unlock the door to true freedom, a freedom that comes from within and is unaffected by the opinions or expectations of others. Ultimately, being alone is not a sign of weakness or rejection. It is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. In solitude, we find the courage to embrace ourselves fully, to let go of our fears, and to step into our personal power. The more we embrace solitude, the more we realize that true happiness is not found in the presence of others, but in the connection we cultivate with ourselves. 2. Create a personal universe that excites you. Many people view solitude with a sense of fear or apprehension, often associating it with boredom, emptiness, or a lack of purpose. In our fast-paced world, the idea of being alone can feel uncomfortable, as it is often tied to the feeling of having nothing to do or no one to connect with. Yet, Buddhism offers a transformative perspective on solitude. Rather than seeing it as a negative state, Buddhism teaches that the mind has limitless potential and that being alone is an opportunity to create a life that excites and fulfills you. In Buddhism, solitude is not something to avoid, but rather something to embrace. When you are alone, you are presented with a blank canvas, a space where you can paint your own world, a world that is rich with meaning, purpose, and excitement. Just as an artist takes a blank page and brings it to life with colors, shapes, and designs, you too have the ability to fill your personal space with the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Your personal universe is a world entirely of your own making. It's a space where your passions, creativity, and curiosity come alive. What you choose to fill it with shapes the quality of your solitude and ultimately the quality of your life. This universe can include anything that nourishes your mind and soul. reading books that inspire you, learning new skills, practicing mindfulness and meditation, journaling your thoughts, or engaging in hobbies that spark excitement and joy. Each of these activities helps you grow and develop a deeper understanding of who you are and what truly matters to you. When you fill your time with things that bring you joy, growth, and inspiration, you begin to see solitude in a new light. It transforms from something to avoid or fear into something to cherish. It becomes a sacred space where you can nurture your passions and cultivate a sense of inner fulfillment that doesn't depend on the presence or approval of others. You are free to be yourself, explore new avenues, and focus entirely on what makes you feel alive. Buddhism places a strong emphasis on self-discovery. One of the best ways to know yourself is to engage in activities that allow you to explore your interests and passions without the pressure of external judgment. When you are alone, you have the freedom to experiment, try new things, and delve into the areas of life that intrigue you most. This exploration is a journey of self-awareness, and it encourages you to ask yourself meaningful questions. What fascinates me? What excites me? What makes me feel truly alive? By taking the time to answer these questions, you begin to design a life that is not only meaningful but deeply engaging. It is no longer about filling time with mindless distractions, but about creating a life that aligns with your true self. Even when you are alone, your life becomes vibrant and full because you have cultivated interests that connect you to the world in a way that is uniquely yours. Building a personal universe also involves creating routines and rituals that make your alone time enjoyable and enriching. Sometimes, it's the smallest moments that can turn solitude into a rewarding experience. Perhaps it's brewing a cup of tea mindfully, taking quiet evening walks, journaling your thoughts, or listening to soothing music. These simple yet powerful activities can add richness and depth to your experience of solitude. They help create a rhythm in your day, a sense of ritual, and a feeling of connectedness to yourself and the present moment. Rituals, no matter how small, help establish a sense of meaning and purpose in your daily life. They provide structure and consistency, creating a safe and nurturing environment for personal growth. When you embrace these rituals, you invite peace and calm into your life. These moments become opportunities to center yourself, slow down, and appreciate the simple joys of life. Solitude becomes not a space to escape from, but a space to embrace. As you invest more time in your personal universe, you begin to notice a shift in how you relate to your alone time. Instead of looking to external distractions to fill the void, you start to find satisfaction and happiness within. You realize that you don't need constant social interaction, entertainment, or validation from others to feel fulfilled. Your life is already full, rich, and meaningful because you have created it to be so. You begin to enjoy your own company because your personal universe is alive with things that inspire and energize you. This shift in perspective allows you to see solitude as an adventure rather than a burden. Solitude becomes a journey of discovery, where you can explore the vastness of your own mind, creativity, and potential. Rather than feeling lonely or disconnected, you experience a deep sense of contentment and inner peace. Your life becomes a playground for exploration and personal growth, and you realize that happiness is not something that depends on others or external circumstances, but something you create within yourself. Buddhism teaches that true happiness comes from within, and that our external circumstances are only temporary. In times of solitude, we are given the gift of introspection, a chance to connect with our innermost desires, thoughts, and emotions. This self-awareness and connection to the present moment are what give our lives depth and meaning. By embracing solitude and building a personal universe that excites and fulfills us, we cultivate an inner world that is rich with possibility. Solitude, when seen as an opportunity rather than a burden, can become a powerful tool for self-transformation. It allows us to rediscover our passions, develop new skills, and deepen our understanding of who we are. As we invest in our personal universe, we become more self-sufficient, more at peace with ourselves, and less reliant on external sources for our happiness. We learn that true joy comes from within and that we are capable of creating a life that is rich, meaningful, and uniquely our own. In the end, happiness is not found in the presence or approval of others, but in the relationship we build with ourselves. Solitude is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced. It is in the quiet, still moments that we have the opportunity to create the life we truly desire, one that is filled with passion, creativity, and purpose. When we learn to enjoy our own company, we discover that the power to create a fulfilling and joyful life has always been within us. 3. Master the art of deep self-conversation. The power of self-conversation, a path to inner wisdom and transformation. In the fast-paced world we live in, it's easy to overlook the most important relationship we have, the one we cultivate with ourselves. We often spend our days conversing with others, exchanging ideas, opinions, and thoughts. But how often do we pause to truly converse with our own mind? Most of us rarely engage in meaningful self-conversations. We may think we know ourselves, but when we take the time to truly listen to our inner world, we uncover layers of wisdom, understanding, and potential that can transform our lives. Buddhism, a practice deeply rooted in mindfulness and self-awareness, teaches that one of the most powerful relationships we can nurture is the relationship with our own mind. It encourages us to turn inward, to engage in deep self-reflection and self-dialogue, and to explore our thoughts, emotions, and desires without judgment. In this journey, we discover the answers to life's most profound questions, not from external sources, but from the vast reservoir of wisdom that resides within us. Embracing solitude for self-conversation. When we are alone, we have the perfect opportunity to engage in self-conversation. Solitude, often seen as a time of loneliness or disconnection, is, in reality, a sacred space for introspection and growth. In this quiet space, free from the distractions of the outside world, we can turn our attention inward and explore the depths of our own minds. Here, we can ask ourselves the important questions that guide our lives and listen carefully to the responses we receive. Self-conversation is not about overthinking, self-criticism, or getting lost in a spiral of negative thoughts. Instead, it is a practice of inquiry, a gentle exploration of who we are, what we feel, and what we truly desire. It's about cultivating a deep sense of curiosity and compassion for ourselves, acknowledging both our strengths and vulnerabilities, without judgment or harsh self-criticism. Asking meaningful questions. One of the most powerful aspects of self-conversation is asking ourselves meaningful questions, questions that have the potential to unlock new insights and clarity. These questions are not designed to elicit simple answers, but to spark a deeper understanding of ourselves and our lives. They invite us to dig beneath the surface and confront the things that may be hidden in the corners of our minds. Consider asking yourself questions such as, what truly makes me happy? This question invites us to reflect on the things that bring us joy, fulfillment, and purpose. It encourages us to let go of external expectations and societal pressures and reconnect with what resonates deeply within our hearts. What fears are holding me back? Fear can be a powerful force in our lives, often keeping us from pursuing our dreams and reaching our full potential. By acknowledging our fears and understanding their origins, we can begin to release their grip on our lives. What lessons have I learned from my past experiences? Our past is rich with lessons, both positive and challenging. Reflecting on our experiences allows us to gain wisdom from them and use those lessons to inform our present and future decisions. What kind of life do I want to create for myself? This question helps us clarify our vision for the future. It asks us to reflect on our values, desires, and goals, and to imagine the life we want to live, not based on external influences, but from a place of deep authenticity. By regularly asking ourselves these types of questions, we begin to unravel the layers of our inner world, gaining clarity about who we are and what we truly want from life. This practice helps us become more self-aware and self-guided, empowering us to make decisions that align with our true essence rather than relying on the opinions or expectations of others. The role of mindfulness in self-conversation. Buddhism places a strong emphasis on mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment and observing our thoughts without attachment or judgment. When we engage in self-conversation, mindfulness is a vital tool that allows us to approach our inner world with neutrality and awareness. Mindfulness helps us be aware of the thoughts that arise during our self-conversations without getting caught up in them. It allows us to observe our thoughts as they come and go, without allowing them to define us or take us down a path of self-criticism. In this space, we can approach our thoughts with a sense of curiosity instead of reacting to them with judgment or frustration. For example, if a thought of self-doubt arises during your self-conversation, mindfulness allows you to simply observe it without getting consumed by it. Instead of reacting with criticism or negative self-talk, you can acknowledge the thought, understand its origin, and gently shift your focus toward compassion and understanding. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend. Offer kindness, patience, and encouragement. If self-criticism creeps in, gently guide your thoughts back to a place of self-compassion. Through mindfulness, we can transform self-conversation into a practice of kindness and love, turning moments of introspection into opportunities for healing and growth. Tools for deepening self-conversation. Two powerful tools that can enhance the practice of self-conversation are journaling and meditation. These practices provide us with structured ways to engage with our inner world and cultivate deeper self-awareness. Journaling is a transformative practice that allows us to express our thoughts and emotions freely. Writing down our thoughts helps us process complex feelings, track personal growth, and uncover patterns in our thinking. When we put pen to paper, we create space for our inner dialogue to unfold in a tangible form. It allows us to reflect on our experiences, articulate our desires, and examine our fears, all in a safe and non-judgmental space. As we write, we may discover new insights or realize things about ourselves that we hadn't previously recognized. Journaling is a mirror to our inner world, helping us gain clarity and understanding of our thoughts and emotions. It also provides a record of our journey, allowing us to track our progress and see how far we've come. Meditation, on the other hand, is a practice of stillness and mindfulness that helps us quiet the external noise of the world and focus inward. Meditation creates a sacred space for self-reflection and allows us to connect with our deepest thoughts and feelings. It helps us cultivate the skill of observing our thoughts without becoming attached to them, allowing us to engage with our minds from a place of clarity and neutrality. Through regular meditation, we learn to listen to our inner voice with more clarity and awareness. We develop the ability to sit with our thoughts and emotions without judgment, creating a space for insight and understanding to emerge naturally. The transformative power of self-conversation. Mastering the art of self-conversation is a powerful tool for personal growth and transformation. It turns moments of solitude into opportunities for deep reflection and discovery. As we engage in meaningful dialogue with ourselves, we develop a stronger sense of self-awareness, confidence, and inner peace. The more comfortable we become with our own minds, the less we rely on external validation or distractions. We no longer seek approval or affirmation from others because we have cultivated a reliable source of wisdom and strength within ourselves. Self-conversation empowers us to trust our intuition, make decisions that align with our values, and create the life we truly desire. In a world filled with constant noise and external pressures, the ability to turn inward and engage in deep self-conversation is a priceless gift. It is through this practice that we can uncover our true essence, heal old wounds, and transform our lives from the inside out. When we learn to listen to ourselves with honesty, compassion, and mindfulness, we open the door to a life of profound wisdom, clarity, and inner peace. Breaking free from the entertainment trap, finding true happiness in solitude. In the modern world, we are constantly surrounded by entertainment and distractions. Our days are filled with the constant ping of notifications, the endless scroll of social media, and the allure of TV shows, video games, and other forms of digital entertainment. These activities often provide temporary relief and enjoyment, but they also foster a dangerous habit, the need for constant stimulation. While they may keep us occupied in the short term, they also create a deep reliance on external sources for happiness and fulfillment, making it difficult to find peace within ourselves. Buddhism teaches that true happiness does not lie in these distractions, but in a mind that is free, present, and at peace. It offers us a path to understanding that real joy comes not from external entertainment or constant busyness, but from cultivating inner stillness, awareness, and connection with ourselves. By embracing the present moment and learning to be comfortable in solitude, we can break free from the cycle of distraction and rediscover a profound sense of peace and contentment. The entertainment trap, escaping our own minds. The entertainment trap is a cycle of using distractions to avoid being alone with our thoughts. In a world where we are always surrounded by noise and stimulation, the idea of silence and solitude has become increasingly uncomfortable for many. We fill our time with external entertainment, be it social media, TV shows, or video games, in an effort to escape the thoughts and emotions we are afraid to face. This avoidance mechanism creates a false sense of relief, but it comes at the cost of disconnecting from our deeper selves. When we rely too heavily on distractions, we fail to develop the ability to be content with ourselves. We may begin to believe that happiness comes from external sources, and we become dependent on the constant buzz of notifications, the latest episode of a TV series, or the endless feed of social media. Over time, this reliance can make solitude feel unbearable, not because solitude is inherently unpleasant, but because we have never learned how to fully experience and appreciate it. The fear of being alone with our thoughts is a reflection of our inability to sit with ourselves without distraction. It is a sign that we have lost touch with the peace and clarity that comes from being present with our own minds. In truth, solitude is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as a vital part of personal growth. Shifting our relationship with solitude. To break free from the entertainment trap, we must first shift our relationship with solitude. Instead of running from it, we must learn to embrace it as a necessary and nurturing part of our journey. Solitude is not synonymous with loneliness. It is a state of being with oneself in a peaceful and reflective way. It provides the space we need to reconnect with our inner wisdom, reflect on our lives, and cultivate a deeper understanding of who we are. Imagine for a moment sitting alone in a quiet room with no phone, no TV, and no distractions. How does it feel? If the thought of being alone with yourself causes discomfort or anxiety, it may be an indication that your mind has become too reliant on external entertainment. It is in these moments of discomfort that we have the greatest opportunity for growth. By learning to sit with our thoughts and feelings without reaching for distractions, we can begin to rebuild our relationship with ourselves. Buddhism teaches that the mind, when left to its own devices, can be either a source of peace or a source of suffering. When we allow ourselves the space to be present with our thoughts without judgment, we invite clarity and calmness into our lives. By facing the discomfort that arises in solitude, we open the door to self-awareness, healing, and transformation. Practicing presence without distractions. One of the most effective ways to reclaim control over our minds and break free from the cycle of external stimulation is through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment, observing our thoughts and feelings without attachment or judgment. It is about turning our attention inward, becoming aware of our internal world, and allowing ourselves to experience the present moment without the need for distractions. Start small. Set aside a few minutes each day to simply be with yourself. Turn off your devices, sit in stillness, and observe the thoughts that arise in your mind. Notice how your body feels, how your breath flows, and what emotions are present. If the urge to check your phone or seek entertainment arises, gently acknowledge it and ask yourself, why am I avoiding silence? What is it that I am afraid to face? By developing the ability to sit with our thoughts and emotions without reacting, we begin to foster a sense of inner peace and understanding. Mindful engagement with activities that do not rely on external stimulation can also be a powerful tool for quieting the mind and reconnecting with our inner selves. Instead of turning to TV or social media for entertainment, consider engaging in activities such as reading a book, journaling, painting, or meditating. Even taking a walk in nature without music or podcasts can provide the opportunity to slow down and clear your mind. These activities allow you to reconnect with your thoughts, your creativity, and your intuition, helping you develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. Choosing entertainment intentionally, breaking free from the entertainment habit, does not mean eliminating all forms of entertainment from our lives. It simply means becoming more mindful and intentional about how and why we engage with it. Instead of mindlessly consuming entertainment to avoid silence, we can learn to choose it in a way that aligns with our true desires and interests. For example, instead of watching TV out of habit or to fill time, we can choose to watch something that truly inspires us or brings us joy. Rather than scrolling endlessly through social media, we can use that time to learn something new, engage in creative projects, or reflect on our goals. By shifting from passive consumption to intentional engagement, we can regain control over how we spend our time and energy. The rewards of embracing solitude. When we no longer rely on constant entertainment to fill the gaps in our lives, we gain something far more valuable: mental clarity, self-awareness, and the ability to enjoy our own company without distractions. Solitude becomes a place of strength, where we are free to think deeply, reflect on our lives, and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. It is in these moments of stillness that we discover our inner wisdom, our true desires, and our deepest source of peace. Breaking free from the entertainment trap takes time and effort, but the rewards are profound. As we begin to embrace silence and solitude, we begin to appreciate the richness of the present moment. We come to realize that true happiness is not found in endless distractions, but in the quiet confidence of a mind that is at peace with itself. By shifting our relationship with entertainment and cultivating a deeper connection with ourselves, we can transform our lives. Solitude becomes not a source of fear or discomfort, but a gateway to clarity, growth, and lasting happiness. When we are no longer dependent on external stimulation for our sense of fulfillment, we can truly experience the peace and joy that comes from being fully present in the moment, content with who we are, and free from the need for constant distractions. 5. Develop silent strength, the confidence of being alone. Silent strength, the power of solitude and inner confidence. In a society that constantly promotes social interactions, relationships, and group activities, being alone is often misunderstood. Many view solitude as a sign of weakness, loneliness, or a lack of social connection. However, Buddhism teaches us that true strength comes not from the approval of others or external validation, but from within ourselves. Solitude, rather than being something to fear, is one of the greatest tools for cultivating inner confidence, which we refer to as silent strength. This is the quiet yet unshakable confidence that arises from being at peace with yourself, without needing others' presence or affirmation. The misunderstanding of solitude. Many people struggle with being alone because they associate their worth with external validation. In today's world, there is a pervasive belief that we are only as valuable as the relationships we have or the number of people we surround ourselves with. We feel incomplete if we are not in a relationship, constantly surrounded by friends, or engaged in social activities. But the more we base our happiness and sense of identity on others, the more vulnerable we become to rejection, criticism, and the fleeting nature of external connections. This can leave us feeling insecure, anxious, and dependent on others for validation. Buddhism teaches that true confidence is self-sourced, meaning it comes from within. Silent strength is the ability to be alone without feeling lonely, to enjoy your own company, trust yourself, and stand firmly in your own sense of self-worth, regardless of external opinions. This form of confidence does not need to be loud, boastful, or attention-seeking. Instead, it is a deep internal sense of self-assurance that allows you to move through life independently, knowing that you are complete in your own right. The path to silent strength. One of the best ways to develop silent strength is through self-awareness. To build inner confidence, it is important to spend time in solitude, reflecting on who you are beyond your relationships, career, or societal roles. It is easy to define yourself based on your job title, your role in relationships, or your social identity. But these are not the essence of who you truly are. By engaging in self-reflection, you begin to understand yourself as a unique individual with your own passions, wisdom, and desires, separate from the roles you play in the world. A few deep, introspective questions can help guide you on this journey of self-awareness. What do I truly enjoy doing when no one is watching? This question invites you to reflect on your passions and interests that are not influenced by the opinions or presence of others. It helps you rediscover the activities and experiences that bring you joy when there is no one around to impress. What are my personal values, and do I live according to them? Your values are the foundation of your character. Reflecting on them helps you understand whether your actions align with your true beliefs or whether you are living according to external expectations. If I had no one to impress, what would I spend my time doing? This question invites you to remove the pressure of societal approval and focus solely on what feels meaningful and fulfilling to you. By exploring these questions, you begin to understand yourself beyond the labels and definitions placed on you by society. You will realize that you are not just someone's friend, partner, or employee. You are a whole, unique individual with your own desires, wisdom, and capacity for growth. The role of self-trust. Another key aspect of silent strength is self-trust. So often we doubt ourselves and seek reassurance or validation from others before making decisions. While seeking advice can be helpful, it becomes problematic when we are unable to trust our own judgment and intuition. In these moments, we give our power away, becoming dependent on the opinions of others to feel confident in our choices. Buddhism teaches that true wisdom arises from looking inward, not outward. When you trust yourself, you tap into your inner wisdom and intuition. You become your own guide, making decisions that are aligned with your values and desires, rather than constantly seeking external approval. Silent strength is the deep knowing that you are capable of making choices that are in your best interest, even if they go against the grain of societal expectations. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for developing self-trust. When you meditate, you sit in silence and observe your thoughts without judgment. This practice allows you to become more attuned to your inner voice and intuition. Over time, you begin to recognize patterns in your thinking and differentiate between fear-based doubts and the gentle, guiding wisdom that comes from within. Meditation strengthens your ability to trust your inner guidance, helping you build confidence in your decisions. Embracing mindful solitude. In addition to meditation, mindful solitude is essential for developing silent strength. Instead of using alone time as an opportunity to escape through distractions such as social media, TV, or constant noise, learn to sit with yourself in the silence. Solitude is not a void to be filled with distractions, but a space to be filled with self-awareness, presence, and mindfulness. Try engaging in activities that help you connect with yourself without external stimuli. Go for a walk alone and pay attention to your surroundings, noticing the details of nature that you might otherwise overlook. Enjoy a meal by yourself without distractions, allowing yourself to savor each bite and reflect on the experience. Spend time doing activities that bring you joy, reading, journaling, painting, without the need for anyone else's presence. These practices allow you to become more comfortable in your own company, fostering a sense of self-sufficiency and inner peace. Emotional independence and silent strength. Silent strength also involves emotional independence. When you are alone, you have the space to fully process your emotions without the influence of outside opinions. Many people suppress their true feelings or act according to social expectations because they fear judgment or misunderstanding. But solitude gives you the freedom to be completely honest with yourself. If you are feeling sadness, you can sit with that emotion, understand it, and allow it to pass naturally. If you are feeling joy, you can embrace that happiness without seeking external validation or confirmation. The key is to accept your emotions as they are, without judgment or resistance. By doing so, you build a deeper connection with your authentic self, allowing you to live more fully and authentically. Realizing your wholeness. Perhaps the most powerful realization in developing silent strength is understanding that you are already whole. Society often teaches that happiness and fulfillment come from external sources, relationships, achievements, material success. But Buddhism reveals that true happiness comes from within. You are complete just as you are. You do not need anyone or anything to complete you because you are already whole. The more you cultivate self-awareness, self-trust, and emotional independence, the less you will rely on external factors to feel complete. You will no longer need the approval of others to validate your worth. Instead, you will find peace and fulfillment in your own presence. The more comfortable you become with solitude, and the more you trust yourself, the less you will seek external validation or approval to feel confident and happy. The power of silent strength. Developing silent strength takes time and practice, but the rewards are immense. You will no longer fear being alone because you will have built an inner world that is rich, fulfilling, and unshakable. As you cultivate self-awareness, trust, and emotional independence, you will become more confident in your ability to navigate life's challenges without relying on external sources of validation or approval. Silent strength is not about shutting others out or rejecting relationships. It is about understanding that your sense of peace and self-worth comes from within, not from others. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you are enough, just as you are. Whether you are surrounded by people or standing entirely on your own, you will walk through life with the assurance that you are strong, complete, and at peace. And that inner peace is the foundation upon which you can build the life you truly desire, one that is not defined by others' expectations, but by your own inner wisdom and values. 6. Turn solitude into a self-discovery journey. Solitude, the path to self-discovery and inner peace. In today's fast-paced, interconnected world, solitude is often misunderstood and seen as something negative, a void to be filled with distractions or a sign of loneliness. Social media, entertainment, and constant engagement with others create a cultural norm that elevates social interaction and connection as essential to our well-being. However, in Buddhism, solitude is not viewed as a punishment or a time to avoid. It is, in fact, a path to profound self-discovery and inner peace. It is in moments of solitude that we are given the opportunity to truly explore and understand who we are, without the influence of outside distractions or expectations. Shifting perspectives on solitude. For many, solitude can feel uncomfortable or unsettling. The idea of being alone with our thoughts can bring up feelings of restlessness or fear. We are often conditioned to believe that being alone means something is wrong, that we should always be surrounded by others to feel validated or complete. But in Buddhism, solitude is seen as a powerful tool for growth, a space for deep introspection and healing. It is an invitation to reconnect with ourselves and examine our inner world with honesty and compassion. When you stop seeing solitude as an empty or negative space and begin treating it as an opportunity, you unlock a deeper understanding of yourself. Instead of trying to escape from being alone, you can begin to use that time to explore who you truly are, what you want from life, and what brings you peace. It is through solitude that we can shed the layers of societal conditioning, external expectations, and superficial distractions to reveal our true essence. Solitude, the environment for self-discovery. Self-discovery is a journey, and solitude provides the perfect environment for that journey. In the stillness and quiet of being alone, we have the freedom to reflect on our thoughts, emotions, and desires without the interference of external voices. When we are constantly surrounded by others, their opinions, desires, and expectations shape our decisions and actions. But in solitude, we have the space to hear our own voice more clearly. The more time we spend in quiet introspection, the more we begin to recognize our own patterns, the things that make us happy, the triggers that bring up our fears, and the beliefs that shape our choices. Solitude helps us unearth the truths buried within us, away from the noise of the outside world. Asking meaningful questions for self-reflection. One of the most powerful ways to embark on a journey of self-discovery in solitude is by asking ourselves meaningful questions. These questions act as keys to unlock deeper insights into our desires, passions, and fears. They prompt us to reflect on the things that matter most to us and help us identify what truly brings us fulfillment. Here are some questions that can guide you on this path. What are my true passions? Often we are told what we should enjoy or what we should pursue based on societal expectations. But in solitude, we can ask ourselves what genuinely excites us. What activities make us feel alive? What sparks our curiosity and joy, regardless of what others think? What kind of life do I want to create for myself? This question encourages you to look beyond the roles and labels you play in society, such as being a partner, employee, or friend, and think about the life you want to build. What do you truly desire in terms of purpose, experiences, and values? What are my strengths, and how can I use them to grow? Reflecting on your strengths can help you understand how to harness your innate talents and abilities to move forward in life. What skills or qualities have served you well in the past, and how can you further develop them to create positive change in your life? What limiting beliefs am I holding on to that no longer serve me? Often we hold on to beliefs or fears that were shaped by past experiences or external influences. Solitude provides the space to examine these beliefs and determine if they are still relevant or if they are holding us back. Journaling, mapping your inner world. One of the best tools for self-discovery is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, ideas, and reflections allows you to bring clarity to your mind and gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Journaling helps you identify recurring themes in your life, such as emotions, desires, or limiting beliefs that may be influencing your actions. When you journal, you are not only recording events, but also reflecting on the feelings and thoughts associated with them. This process can help you connect the dots between your emotions and your decisions, offering valuable insights into your inner world. By documenting your reflections, you create a personal map of your journey, a roadmap that guides you toward greater self-awareness and clarity. Meditation, deepening self-awareness. In addition to journaling, meditation is another essential practice for self-discovery. Meditation allows you to sit in silence, observe your thoughts, and cultivate an awareness of your inner world. In the beginning, it may feel challenging to sit in stillness. Your mind may wander, and you may feel restless. However, with consistent practice, meditation helps you go deeper into your consciousness, revealing aspects of yourself that may have been hidden or overlooked. Through meditation, you begin to see how much of your identity has been shaped by external influences, family, society, culture, and how much of it reflects your true essence. You begin to differentiate between the ego-driven thoughts that are based on fear and insecurity and the wisdom that arises from a place of calm, clarity, and self-acceptance. Engaging in new experiences in solitude. Another way to deepen your self-discovery through solitude is by trying new things without the influence of others. When we are always surrounded by friends, family, or colleagues, our choices are often shaped by their opinions or expectations. However, in solitude, you are free to experiment and explore what truly resonates with you, free from judgment or pressure. Consider trying activities you've always been curious about, such as painting, writing, hiking, or learning a new language. Explore new hobbies, read books that intrigue you, or take yourself on solo adventures to places you've always wanted to visit. By engaging in these experiences on your own, you open up a space for new insights and discoveries. You might find that certain activities bring you a deep sense of joy, creativity, or peace that you never expected. Reflecting on your past for growth. Solitude also allows you to reflect on your past and understand how it has shaped you. It's easy to get caught up in regrets or painful memories, but Buddhism teaches that the past is not something that defines us. It is a teacher. In solitude, you can sit with your past experiences without judgment, extract the wisdom from them, and move forward with greater awareness. Instead of being weighed down by past mistakes or missed opportunities, you can use solitude as a space for healing. Reflect on the lessons you've learned, the strengths you've gained, and the ways in which your past has prepared you for the future. By releasing attachment to negative emotions or limiting beliefs tied to your past, you make space for new growth and transformation. Discovering true fulfillment. Finally, one of the most powerful aspects of self-discovery through solitude is uncovering what truly fulfills you. In a world that often promotes happiness through material success, relationships, or social approval, solitude provides the opportunity to separate what society tells you will bring you happiness from what actually does. Ask yourself, what activities make me lose track of time? These are the activities that align with your passions and bring you true joy. What brings me a deep sense of peace and purpose? This question helps you identify the things in your life that provide fulfillment beyond external achievements or the approval of others. These answers hold the key to your true path, guiding you toward a life that is meaningful, authentic, and fulfilling. Embracing solitude for lasting growth. As you continue your journey of self-discovery through solitude, you will begin to notice a powerful shift. Solitude will no longer feel like something to escape from, but rather a sacred space for growth, healing, and understanding. You will start looking forward to your alone time, knowing that it is a time for meaningful self-exploration rather than restlessness or loneliness. Solitude is not about isolation, it is about self-connection. The more you embrace it as a tool for self-discovery, the more confident, self-aware, and fulfilled you will become. You will realize that true happiness is not something you have to seek in the outside world. It is something you uncover within yourself. In the silence of solitude, you will find the answers you've been searching for and the peace that comes from truly knowing and accepting yourself. Embrace the presence paradox. The presence paradox, finding true happiness in the present moment. In a world that often measures happiness through external factors, relationships, achievements, possessions, and social validation, there lies a deep misconception about what truly brings contentment. Many people believe that happiness is something to be attained from outside themselves, through the approval of others, the accumulation of material goods, or the pursuit of goals. However, Buddhism teaches us a profound truth. True happiness is found in the present moment, independent of external conditions. This is the essence of the presence paradox. The more you become fully present with yourself, the less you feel the need for external validation or companionship to feel whole. The misunderstanding of happiness. The modern world constantly reinforces the idea that happiness comes from something or someone outside of ourselves. We are often taught that to be happy, we need the right partner, the right job, the right house, or the right social circles. These external sources of happiness create a cycle of constant striving, where we place our peace and well-being in the hands of circumstances that are beyond our control. But true contentment doesn't reside in any of these fleeting things. When we focus on external validation, we inevitably become vulnerable to the changing nature of life. Relationships end, possessions break, and achievements lose their shine. This constant pursuit of happiness through external means only leads to a cycle of dissatisfaction. Buddhism invites us to recognize that true happiness is not something to chase, but something to cultivate within. The happiness that arises from being fully present in the moment is timeless, unaffected by what happens around us. The more you focus on your present experience, the more you realize that everything you need for peace and contentment is already here. It is within you. The presence paradox. The more present you are, the less you need. One of the great paradoxes of life is that the more we become fully present with ourselves, the less we feel the need for external validation or companionship to feel whole. This is where the presence paradox comes into play. When you learn to find peace in solitude, you no longer need the approval of others to feel complete. Solitude transforms from something uncomfortable and empty into a source of deep satisfaction and self-connection. Most people feel uneasy or uncomfortable in solitude because their minds are either stuck in the past or anxiously anticipating the future. They may replay old memories, regrets, or painful experiences, or they may worry about what will happen next. This constant mental chatter creates suffering and makes solitude feel heavy. The mind becomes a source of restlessness, and being alone feels like a burden. But when you train yourself to be fully present, you free yourself from these unnecessary burdens. You stop seeking distractions, external approval, or relationships to escape your own mind. Instead, you learn to find peace in simply being, right here, right now. Mindfulness, the key to presence. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is mindfulness, the practice of fully engaging with the present moment. Mindfulness does not simply mean sitting quietly in meditation. It means bringing your full awareness to whatever you are doing in every moment. Whether you are eating, walking, washing dishes, or even having a conversation, mindfulness involves being present with the activity at hand. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to appreciate the richness of life that often goes unnoticed. The simple act of eating becomes an opportunity to engage all your senses, the taste, texture, and aroma of your food, without distraction. The simple act of walking becomes a dance of awareness, where each step is an expression of presence. By engaging in life with full attention, you realize that everything you need to experience happiness is available to you in the present moment. Imagine sitting alone in a quiet space. Instead of feeling restless, bored, or anxious, you focus entirely on your breath, the sensations in your body, and the sounds around you. With each inhale and exhale, you bring your awareness deeper into the present moment. In this space of stillness, there is no need to check your phone, seek out entertainment, or talk to someone for validation. You simply are. And in that being, you realize something profound. Happiness is already here. It does not depend on external validation or distractions. It exists in the stillness of now. Observing the urge for distraction. Another way to embrace the presence paradox is to observe how often your mind seeks distractions. We live in a world that constantly bombards us with stimuli. Our phones, social media, and entertainment are designed to grab our attention and fill the empty spaces in our lives. The urge to check your phone, scroll through social media, or engage in small talk just to fill the silence is a powerful force. However, each time you reach for these distractions, it's worth pausing and asking yourself, what am I trying to avoid? Can I sit with this moment instead of escaping it? What happens if I allow myself to just be here, fully present? These questions can help you become more aware of your habitual patterns and the discomfort that arises when you are faced with solitude. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to sit with the silence or stillness of the present moment. Your mind may race with thoughts, worries, and judgments, but the more you resist the urge for external distractions, the more your mind begins to adapt. Over time, you start to enjoy solitude rather than fear it. You become comfortable in your own skin, at ease with your thoughts, and no longer dependent on constant stimulation to fill the silence. Attachment and suffering, the illusion of dependence. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. Many people become attached to relationships, friendships, or even casual interactions because they believe these connections define their worth. They feel anxious when alone, fearing that they are missing out or being left behind. In these moments of attachment, there is a sense of lack, a belief that without these connections, they are incomplete. But when you embrace the present moment and develop mindfulness, you begin to see that attachment is just an illusion. You do not need others to complete you. You are already whole. Solitude becomes not a source of fear or discomfort, but a space for self-connection, growth, and peace. When you fully embrace the present moment, you begin to understand that true fulfillment does not come from external sources. It comes from within. This does not mean that relationships are not valuable. Human connection is important, and relationships can bring great joy and support. However, when you are fully present with yourself and at peace in your own company, your relationships become a choice, not a necessity. You engage with others from a place of wholeness, not because you need them to complete you, but because you genuinely enjoy their presence. This creates deeper, more meaningful connections that are not dependent on external validation. Meditation, cultivating presence. One of the most powerful practices for developing this mindset is meditation. Meditation allows you to sit in stillness, observe your breath, and allow thoughts to come and go without attachment. As you practice meditation, you train your mind to be comfortable with silence and to be fully present in each moment. Meditation helps you realize that you do not need anything outside of yourself to feel peaceful. In the silence of meditation, you discover the truth. You are already enough, and happiness is found within. Through regular meditation, you learn to detach from the constant need for validation or stimulation. You begin to appreciate the simplicity of the present moment, where peace resides in the absence of distraction. The more you meditate, the more you cultivate a deep sense of contentment that is not reliant on external factors. Embracing the presence. Paradox. The presence paradox teaches us that the more we become fully present with ourselves, the less we feel the need for external validation or companionship to feel whole. In embracing this paradox, we learn that true happiness is not something to be found in the outside world, but something to be discovered within ourselves. Solitude becomes a space for growth, reflection, and inner peace. As we cultivate mindfulness, we begin to understand that we are complete in the present moment, independent of outside conditions. This does not mean that we should isolate ourselves or reject human connection. Rather, it means that we engage with life and relationships from a place of wholeness, without clinging or attachment. We find peace and happiness in the stillness of the present, knowing that we are enough just as we are. In this space of presence, we discover that happiness was always within us. It simply needed to be realized. Embracing solitude, a path to self-discovery and inner fulfillment. In a world that often emphasizes social connection, external validation, and constant activity, solitude can sometimes be misunderstood as something to avoid. Many people fear being alone, associating it with loneliness or emptiness. However, Buddhism teaches us that true happiness does not come from external sources, but from within. When we learn to embrace solitude, we open the door to self-discovery, inner peace, and a deep sense of fulfillment. Solitude, in its truest form, is not an absence of connection, but an opportunity to connect with our true selves. The power of deep observation. One powerful way to embrace solitude is by engaging in deep observation. This practice allows us to fully immerse ourselves in the present moment, shedding the distractions and worries that often cloud our minds. A simple walk can become a profound opportunity to connect with the world around us. As you walk, pay attention to every detail: the gentle rustling of the leaves, the texture of the ground beneath your feet, the rhythm of your breath as you move. Notice how the light shifts through the trees, how the air feels against your skin, and how your body moves with each step. The more you focus on these details, the more you begin to realize how much beauty and fulfillment already exist in the present moment without needing anything from the outside world. By cultivating deep observation, we learn to appreciate the richness of life in its simplest forms. You don't need to seek external validation, distractions, or constant stimulation when you begin to engage with the present moment in this way. The natural world, your own breath, and the simple act of being alive are sources of profound beauty and contentment. In these moments of mindful awareness, we realize that happiness has always been within us, waiting to be noticed. Solitude as a path to self-discovery. Buddhism teaches us that happiness is not something to be found in possessions, relationships, or external achievements. True happiness comes from within. When we learn to enjoy our own company, we no longer feel the need to seek outside approval or constantly fill the silence with distractions. Solitude becomes a sacred space for self-reflection, personal growth, and deep inner peace. Solitude, far from being a sign of loneliness, is a path to self-discovery. It offers us the chance to quiet the noise of the world and listen to our inner voice. In solitude, we can explore our thoughts, emotions, and desires without interference. We can reflect on what truly matters to us, what we want from life, and how we can align our actions with our values. It is in this quiet space that we find clarity, self-awareness, and the strength to move forward with confidence. Embracing the joy of being alone. When we learn to embrace solitude, it becomes a source of joy and liberation, not something to be feared. Rather than feeling uncomfortable or restless when we are alone, we begin to enjoy our own company. We realize that we are not dependent on others for our happiness. Instead, we find that the joy we seek is already within us, waiting to be acknowledged. As we practice this awareness, we discover that solitude is not a void, but a space of rich potential. It is in these moments of stillness that we can reconnect with ourselves, heal, and grow. By being fully present in our own company, we open the door to deeper fulfillment, inner peace, and the freedom to live authentically. Practice these lessons daily. To truly cultivate the peace and fulfillment that comes with solitude, it's important to make it a daily practice, whether through deep observation, mindfulness, or simply taking time to be with yourself. The more you embrace solitude, the more you will find joy in it. It is through these practices that we learn to appreciate the beauty of the present moment, discover our inner strength, and experience the freedom that comes with knowing we are complete on our own. Solitude is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a profound teacher that can lead us to deeper self-understanding, inner peace, and lasting fulfillment. Embrace these lessons, practice them daily,